All right, well, we're going to get started with a different song, maybe. With our eyes closed, taking a seated position. Finding some stillness, relaxing your shoulders, letting your shoulders fall down into the sides. With every inhale, we sit a bit taller. And every exhale, we let ourselves relax a bit deeper, releasing any tension in our face. Noticing your breath and where it's at. Without any judgment, can we try and slow it down just a little bit? We're going to start with some breath work, just to relax our body, to slow our heart rate down. We'll be doing 5 rounds of a breath work exercise called 4-7-8. So inhaling for 4, holding for 7, and exhaling for 8. We'll do that 5 times. So just bearing in mind when we are holding for 7 to really relax your shoulders, not to tense in the hold, even if it's a bit long, and to pace yourself in your exhale. So taking it super slow so we can make it through 8. Let's pace our breath. And together, let's start. Inhaling for 4. Holding for 7. Relaxing those shoulders. Exhaling for 8. Inhale for 4. Hold for 7. Exhale for 8. Round 3, inhale. Hold. Exhale. Inhale. Hold. And exhale. Hi. Last round, guys. Inhale for 4. Hold for 7. Exhale. Coming back to your natural breath, your natural rhythm. Taking this moment here to create an intention for today, for today's practice, for today in general. It can be an affirmation, whatever works for you, whatever you're going through at the moment. Taking this moment to reflect on it and to use it to your positive here in practice. In your next exhale, we're going to start doing neck circles in one direction, taking it super slow, feeling out every ligament in your neck. Hi. And gently switching directions. And gently coming back to center. We're going to take one deep breath together, exhaling through our mouth. Inhale together. Exhale. Gently opening your eyes. Hi. Taking your hands to the front of the mat, we're going to come into tabletop position. So in tabletop, we have our hands under our shoulders, but here we're going to take our hands about a hand's distance further forward. So instead of being under our shoulders, we're a little bit more forward. On our inhales, we're going to come forward with our chest forward and down, and then gently drop our hips, push the ground away, looking up. And then we're going to hold here. Exhale, push the ground away, round our back, bringing our hips down to our heels into child's pose. Noticing my arms are super extended here. And then once we're in child's pose, we hold our breath. So it's inhale, move forward, hold, exhale, come down, hold. So inhale, we're coming forward. We round our back as we come up. Once we're in middle point here, then we start to drop our hips, shine our chest forward, looking up and hold. Exhale, push the ground away as we round our back. Drop your head, chin to chest, hips to heels, and we hold our breath. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. And we hold. Inhale. We're doing 3 more. Hold. Exhale. And we hold. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Taking it super slow with your breath work here. And we hold. The last round. Inhale, coming forward. Drop those hips. Look up, hold. Exhale, push the ground away around that back. Coming down. And we're going to hold it here. Option to open your hips or your knees as wide as your mat here, so we have a really deeper child's pose. Making sure that your hands are as far forward as possible. From here, we're going to walk our hands not only forward, but to the right side. As far forward and to the right as we can. You're going to really feel this on the left side of your body. Forehead down to the mat. Breathing into this for 3. For 2. And on 1, we gently walk our hands back to center. Noticing if our hands aren't as forward as possible, we're going to walk them a bit more forward. And then from here, we're moving to the left. Noticing the right side of your body really getting worked here. Forehead to mat. Holding it here for 3. For 2. And on 1, gently making your way back to center. Slowly coming up, and we're going to meet in a tabletop position. Perfect. From here again, putting your hands under your shoulders, check your knees are under your hips. We're going to look forward, inhale, lifting that left leg and right arm. So opposite arm, opposite leg. Check that our core here is really engaged, and we're not letting ourselves sink into our hip. We're pushing the ground away with that left hand, right knee. Holding it here. reaching forward, kicking back for 3. Looking down at the ground now for 2. And on 1, you can stay here, or your option 2, bend that knee, take that arm back, and we're going to try and grab the inside of that foot. If this is enough for you, stay here. If you want to take it a little bit further, feel free to kick up and shine your chest back for 3. For 2. And on 1, we're leaving our leg here, taking our arm down. We're going to be kicking up, working our glutes for a bit for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Back into tabletop. From here, let's extend opposite arm, opposite leg. Checking your form. Push the ground away with that right hand. Looking down at the mat, we're holding it here for 3. Reaching forward for 2. And on 1, option to take it back. Listening to yourself. If we're not feeling it today, that's totally fine. Inhale, kicking up for there. Finding your focal point on the ground for balance. We're holding it for 3. For 2. And on 1, release the hand, keep the leg there. Kicking up for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, release. Walking your hands a little bit more forward. We're going to come into a few quick movements here, working the arms today. So inhale, we come forward. We're practicing here for chaturanga, where our elbows come into our ribs. We're not coming all the way down. And then we come back, toes are tucked. We're not coming into a full child's pose here. We're just really extending our arms, feeling this lengthening in our back. Inhale forward. Like a little push-up. Exhale back. For 10. Inhale forward, exhale back. For 9. 8. 7. 6. So really touching your elbows to your ribs, practicing for when we come down. I think we're 5 or 4, I'm not sure. 3, 2, and 1. Coming back up from here, back into tabletop, bringing your hands under your shoulders. Inhale that right hand to the sky. Reaching to the sky, opening your body to the right side of the room. Perfect. Super active right arm here. And check that our hips aren't shining too much to the right side. Inhale up. And your next exhale, we're taking this right hand underneath that left arm so that our right shoulder, right ear come down onto the mat. So you're going to come to a complete lie down with your left hand walking it as far forward as possible. So the left arm is still getting a stretch, your right shoulder is getting a stretch. Really staying here, working that shoulder. Looks great, guys. So see if we can walk this hand a little bit further forward. Perfect. That's good. Let's hold it here for another 3. For 2. And on 1, option to stay here, or option to really push the ground away with that right shoulder, left hand, as we try to lift that left leg. Now, if you fall to the side, it happens in every class, so don't feel awkward about it. It really is finding the balance between pushing the ground away and kicking up. Activating that left leg, pointing those toes. It's not flopping around. Holding it here. I know we're shaking, it's all good. For another 2. And on 1, gently release that knee to the ground. Take your left hand in front of your face, push the ground away. Right hand to the sky. Looking up at those right fingertips. Exhale, release, back into tabletop. Noticing your two shoulders now, how you might feel a lot more tense in your left shoulder in comparison to your right. From here, let's do the other side. Inhale, left hand to the sky. Looking up at those fingertips. Reaching, reaching. Looks good. Check that your knees are still under your hips here. Good job. Inhale, reach. Perfect. Taking one more breath here. And on your next exhale, take this arm under, left shoulder, left ear to mat. Walk that right hand as far forward as possible. Feel free to readjust your stance here. If you're not feeling it too much in your shoulder, maybe you walk that shoulder back or forward. Holding it here for 3. For 2. And on 1, push the ground away with your shoulder and your hand. Find your focal point on the ground, extending that right leg behind you. And if you feel up for it, let's try to lift for 3. For 2. And on 1, gently bring it down. Take that right hand in front of your face to push yourself back up. Left hand to the sky. Looking up. Exhale, release. Perfect, guys. From here, we're going to tuck our toes, lift our knees, high plank. Noticing our first high plank today, how our core is feeling. Going back and forth on your toes. On your next inhale, we're going to come forward on our tiptoes, rounding our back to the sky. Then we're slowly carrying our hips to the back of the room, making our way into our first down dog. So pedaling out your feet here in down dog. Making sure that you're not hunched at the neck so that you have space to move your neck and your head. So moving your head, yes and no, from side to side. And from here, we're going to bend our knees, look forward, and either hop or step to the front of our mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Opening your feet, your stance a little bit wider, so you're moving your feet a little bit wider than your hips. Taking your left hand to the ground, right hand to the sky. Looking up at those right fingertips. Feel free to bend one leg or the other or both. Also, option here is to take this right hand behind you and to wrap it to the inside of that left thigh, and really opening up this right shoulder. Holding it here for one more breath. And gently release. Right hand down to the ground, left hand to the sky. Looking up at those left fingertips. Again, feel free to bend a knee or two. As well, option to take it behind. Can we bring it to the inside of that right thigh? Looking at those over that right shoulder. One more breath. Exhale, release. Bring your feet again underneath your hips. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Taking your hands to the side, inhale, hands to the sky. Coming to a standing. Looking up at your fingertips, reaching up. Can we take them a little bit more behind us? Exhale, release. All right, how are we doing? Good? All right, inhale, hands to the sky. Exhale, folding at the hips. From here, we're going to take a little bend to the knees so our thighs and our stomach are touching. Taking your hands behind you, interlacing your hands, letting your arms fall down. We're going to inhale, coming slowly to a stand. So slowly straighten your legs. Start to shine your chest forward. As we shine our chest forward, we're squeezing those shoulder blades together. Inhale, looking up. Exhale, we start to fold again. When we come down, our thighs and stomach touch. Our arms fall over our head. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, coming down. One more time, guys. Inhale. And exhale. Gently release your hands down to the ground. From here, we're going to come into a high plank. Dropping our knees, untucking our toes, elbows into our ribs. We're lowering down, push the ground away, shine our chest forward, look up. Exhale, tuck your toes, downward facing dog. From here, option to take our right hand to that left ankle and trying to bring ourselves to the left side. So you're going to really feel this on the right, the back of the right side of your shoulders, the right side of your back, holding it here for one more breath. Exhale, back to a down dog. Push the ground away. On your next inhale, left hand to right ankle. Bringing yourself to the right side. Noticing how this feels in comparison. And gently release, coming back. Feel free to pedal the feet. We're going to be coming back to down dog a lot, so trying to make it your friend, not your enemy. And from here, taking this left knee to the sky. Exhale, we're carrying this left foot in between our hands. Gently releasing that back knee, untucking those toes. Inhale, hands to the sky. So shining your chest forward, reaching up, making sure that we're not crunching at our ears. We really want to make space for our head and our neck. On your next exhale, can we take our hands a little bit further back? Gently bringing your hands to prayer in front of your chest. From here, we're taking this right elbow to the outside of this left knee. Looking over that left shoulder. Holding it here for 3. For 2. And on 1, bringing prayer back to center. We're going to tuck those back toes. Feel free to stay here if this is enough. Otherwise, we're going to try and lift this back knee. Inhale, hands to the sky. Exhale, back to prayer. We're going to try and do the twist again, guys. Right elbow to the outside of this left knee. Looking over this shoulder. Holding it here for 3. For 2. And on 1, dropping your hands down to the ground, taking this foot back to the back of the mat, high plank. Option to drop your knees, otherwise we lower down. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Using down dog here to catch your breath. Inhale, right knee goes to the sky. Exhale, carrying it forward in between your hands. Dropping that back knee. Untucking those toes. Inhale, hands to the sky. Reaching up. Looking up. Can we take these hands a little bit further back? Gently bringing your hands to prayer in front of your chest. From here, left elbow to the outside of that right knee, looking over that right shoulder. Holding it here. Breathing through any shakes that we might feel. And when you're ready, coming back to center. Hands are in prayer. Tuck those back toes. And if we feel up for it, we lift up. Holding it here, hands to the sky. Inhale. Exhale, back to prayer. And we twist. Left elbow, right knee. Look over that right shoulder, holding it here for 3. For 2. And on 1, back to center. Gently release, meeting me in a high plank. Drop our knees, untuck our toes, lower down. Inhale, upward facing dog, push the ground away. Exhale, tuck your toes, downward facing dog. Catching your breath, checking in with yourself. And in your next inhale, taking the left leg or left knee, whatever works for you, to the sky. Exhale, we're going to carry this left foot in between our hands, preparing yourself to come up. So first, finding your focal point, catching your breath. We don't want to be moving into standing positions when we're like out of breath. And when we feel up for it, then we take our hands up. Coming into a modified warrior one. Holding it here for one breath. Exhale, warrior two. So your back foot's at a 45-degree angle. Check your heels are in line. Super strong arms looking over those left fingertips. Knees on top of the ankle. Perfect. So super strong arms here, guys. We really want to have the activated arms. Good job. From here, we're going to flip this front hand upside down, lean forward as we come back. Right hand goes down that right leg into a warrior two. Sorry, into a reverse warrior. Feeling this in the left side of our body, holding it here, reaching to the back. One more breath. And exhale, we come back to a warrior two. We're going to windmill our hands down, so our right hand comes forward, down to the ground. We're going to come up on those back toes, left hand to the sky. Looking up at those left fingertips. Noticing this in your left hip. Holding it here. We can drop that back knee if we want to. Taking it at your own pace. One more breath. Exhale, take the hands down, meeting me back in a high plank. Option to drop your knees as always, lowering down. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Catching your breath here before we go into the other side. On your next inhale, right leg or right knee to the sky. Exhale, carrying it forward in between our hands. We're staying here while we catch our breath, while we catch our balance, while we come up with an intention. And when we feel ready, inhale, hands to the sky. Looking up. Exhale. Warrior two. Back foot's at a 45-degree angle. Perfect. Looking over those right fingertips. Feel free to open your stance a bit wider as well if you're feeling a bit off balance. Holding it here for three. Strong, strong arms. They're activated for two. In on one. Flip that hand upside down. Lean forward as we come back. Left hand down that left leg. Opening up. Now, we still have that bend in our front knee, right? Even though we're coming back, it's super easy to straighten it out, but we want to keep that bend. For three. For two. In on one. Back to warrior two. Windmilling our hands down. So left hand comes forward, down to the ground, right hand up. We're on those back toes now. Looking up at those right fingertips. Holding it here for three. For two. In on one. Right hand comes down. Gently meeting me in a high plank. Drop your knees if you'd like. Otherwise, we lower down. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. From here, bending your knees, looking forward. We're going to hop or step to the front of our mat, and we're staying into a yogic squat, so don't come up yet. Take your feet as wide as your mat, or even a bit wider. Depends on how you guys are feeling today. And before we come into any arm positions, just let yourself find a little bit of movement here. We can also take a block underneath us to help us so we can still feel the stretch in our hips, but we're not uncomfortable. From here, taking your hands to prayer, you're using your elbows to push your knees out. Closing your eyes, we're taking a moment to really catch our breath. to find a bit of stillness. You can rock or you can stay still. To reflect on the practice without any judgment on yourself. The practice is on your mat only, so really just focusing on your potential here. Together, we're going to do 3 deep inhales through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. Starting with 1, inhale together. Exhale. Inhale for 2. Exhale. Last one, inhale. Exhale. Slowly opening your eyes. From here, we're taking our left hand in front of our left foot, right hand to the back of the room. Reaching as far back as we can, looking at those back fingertips for 3. For 2. And on 1, switch it up. Right hand comes in front of that right foot, left hand to the back. Looking at those left fingertips. Holding it here for 3. For 2, and on 1, coming back. Taking your hands to the ground, lifting yourself up into a forward fold. Perfect. Letting yourself hang heavy. You can grab opposite elbows, or you can let your hands just hang there. Dropping your head. And your next inhale, hands to shin or to the ground, halfway lift. Exhale, hands down to the ground. We're coming into a high plank. There we go. So high plank, check your hips are straight, exactly. Rocking from side to side. We're gonna come down onto our forearms. From here, we're pivoting our toes to the left side of the mat. Inhale, left hand comes up. Left, we're coming onto a forearm side plank. Looking up at those left fingertips. Holding it here. Pushing the ground out with that forearm. 1 more breath. Exhale, switch it up. Left forearm, we're shifting our toes to the right side, right hand to the sky. Looking up at those right fingertips. Holding it here for 2 breaths. Gently relax, coming back to center forearm plank. From here, walking your toes towards you, lifting your hips to the sky. In a dolphin's pose. So it's like a downward facing dog, but on your forearms. Push your forearms down into the mat to really help lift your hips to the sky. Relaxing your head. From here, coming up onto the right hand, then to your left hand, into a normal down dog. Then we come back onto the right forearm. Then the left forearm, back into dolphin's pose. Shifting ourselves back into a forearm plank. So your hips are parallel to the ground. Opening your hands flat to the ground, really grasping all the mat we can. From here, shifting your toes to the left side, coming into a forearm side plank again, left hand to the sky. Option here to dip your hips for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, switch it up. We're back to center, take a breath here, and then shift your toes to the other side, right hand to the sky, dipping down for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, back to a forearm plank. Push your hips back into dolphin's pose. Bring your feet towards you. And then coming back into a down dog. Taking a moment to breathe. On your next inhale, we're coming forward on our tiptoes. We're going to drop our knees to the ground, back into a tabletop position. Perfect. Walking your hands towards you, coming into a seated position on our heels. Closing our eyes, we're going to inhale, take our hands behind us, interlace your fingers together. Squeezing those shoulder blades together, shining your chest forward. Those forearm side planks, really hit it at your shoulders. Feel free here to bring your hands down to the ground, shining your chest forward. We're not putting too much pressure on our hands here, but just enough to be able to push the ground away to lift our chest up. Gently coming back to center, hands down to tabletop. Lifting our toes, lifting our knees back into a high plank. Exhale, down dog. Bending our knees, looking forward. We're going to hop our step to the front of our mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Slowly coming up to a standing, letting yourself hang, unraveling your spine vertebrae by vertebrae. When we're standing up, shake it off. Any tension we might feel. Perfect. From here, squaring your hips to the front of the mat. We're taking this left leg behind us. Check that your stance is at least as wide as you, as long as you are, right? We don't want it to be too narrow because then it's really hard to come down, right? So as we take this back foot back, check that your heels are in line and that our back foot's at a 45-degree angle. Shifting your hips forward, right? Hands behind us in prayer, or we grab opposite elbows, up to you. We're gonna inhale, shining our chest forward. Exhale, we slowly come down with a straight back. So if we're rounding our back, come back up, right? Shoulders are back, chest is forward. Holding it here, guys. Perfect. Looks good. With every inhale, imagine your head going a bit more forward. Your hips are great. And every exhale, letting gravity pull you down, right? We want to keep our heels in line. So maybe you want to move this foot a little bit over here. Perfect. And your hips. Excellent. Let's take 2 more deep breaths here, guys. There we go. Gently, on your next exhale, releasing your hands down to the ground, bending this front leg. So we're back here. Our back foot's at a 45-degree angle, but now we're going to come up onto our toes. So we have a bend in this front knee, dropping this back knee, untucking the toes, bringing your hips back. Shining our toes towards us, trying to straighten it out. Straighten out this leg. If we're struggling, take your blocks here, guys. We're not too many people here, so we have blocks. Does anyone want to? Do you want to try to? You want to try both here. So if we take them on the side, it's really going to help us elevate ourselves. Yeah? Blocks and props are your friends. They really help no matter what level you're at. Either get yourself into the position or at least deepen into the position. Sorry, we're not there. We're here. Holding it wherever you're at. Shining the chest forward, shoulders back. For 3. For 2. And on 1, we're bringing this right foot back down. We're going to tuck those back toes. We're going to come into a bit of a balancing exercise. So trying to find a focal point in front of you, whatever it might be. And then we're going to kick up into airplane pose. So using your hands here in front of you. Check your hips are square to the ground. So we're not stacking. Our hips are shining towards the ground. Left leg is super active. Holding your hands here. Feel free to grab a block if we're rounding our back. Option, if we are ready for it, is to take our hands behind us. You really need to have your focal point to do this. So our body is technically parallel to the ground. Wherever we're at, hands are down as well if we're there. Finding your focal point for 3. For 2. And on 1, hands come down. We're going to bend this front leg. Back foot comes to a 45-degree angle. And we're folding over our right leg. Check that your heels are still in line. Letting yourself really fold over this right leg. Gently coming up on those back toes. Bend this front leg. Drop that back knee. Untuck those back toes and bring your hips back. We're back here. Use your blocks if you need to. Really working those hamstrings. Holding it for 1 more breath. And gently bring this foot down to the ground. Tuck those back toes, meeting me in a high plank. Option to drop your knees if you'd like to. Otherwise, we lower down. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Push the ground away to really be able to lift your hips, straightening out your back. From here, bend your knees, look forward, hop or step to the front of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Take your hands to your sides. Inhale, come to a standing. Exhale, release. From here, we're doing the other side. So front leg is our left leg, right leg goes back. Check again that your feet are in line, your heels are in line. Back foot's at a 45-degree angle. Check your hips are shining forward. It's super easy for them to go to the right side, but we want to keep them under control. Hands behind you, however you had them before. Shine your chest forward. Exhale, coming down. Feel free during a pose to readjust yourself, right? If you're too wide stanced or if you're too narrow stanced. Perfect. Can we shine those hips a little bit? Exactly. Some little movements. And we hold it here. Check your hips. Relaxing your neck. Perfect. One more breath. Good job. Releasing your hands down to the ground. From here, we're coming up on those back toes, bending this front leg, dropping this back knee, untucking your toes, bringing your hips back. Use your blocks here, guys. Shining those toes towards you. Walking those fingers forward if you are ready for that. Closing your eyes, we're holding it here. For 3. For 2. And on 1, we bring this left leg down. We're going to lift this back knee, come up onto our back toes. Find your focal point in front of you to prepare you to come into airplane pose. Right, so if we're not ready, then find your balance here first. Walk your hands forward, kick up. Check that your hips are squared here. Your right leg is active. And when we feel ready for it, we lift our hands. Or maybe we don't. Laughing through any shakes that we have. Holding it wherever you're at for 3. For 2. And on 1, gently bring your hands down here. We're coming down, back foot is at a 45-degree angle. And we're going to fold over this left leg. Letting your head fall heavy here. Taking one more breath here. And then we come up on those back toes. Bending this front knee, releasing our back knee, untucking our back toes, and bringing our hips back, straightening out this leg again. Shining those toes towards you guys, flexing them towards you. Perfect. Holding it here. Taking one more breath. Exhale, release. Gently bringing this left leg back, meeting me in a high plank. Option to drop your knees, lowering down. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. From here, bend your knees, look forward, hop or step to the front of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Taking your hands to the side, inhale, coming to a standing. Exhale, release. Perfect. Perfect. We're coming near the end of our practice, so we're going to come to a seated position. Last chaturanga, guys. Inhale, hands to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands down to the ground, coming into a high plank. Drop your knees if you'd like to, lowering down. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, down dog. Bend your knees, look forward. We're gonna hop or step, crossing our feet at the front to come into a seated position. Bringing your feet out in front of you. We're gonna extend the right leg, bend the left leg. Toes are flexed towards us. Feel free to start with a bend and then with time, straighten it out. Inhale, hands to the sky. Exhale, we reach forward and down. So if we're not here, grab your shin, grab your thigh, listen to your body and at your own process, your own pace. Super important here, if we're rounding our spine, bring your knee up, right? And then with time, we'll get a straighter back and we can straighten out the leg. So we're not rounding. Our chest is forward, our shoulders are back. Holding it here for 3. For 2. And on 1, gently coming up and switching it up. Left leg's extended, right leg is bent. Inhale, hands to the sky. Check that your toes are flexed towards you. Start with a bend. Exhale, coming down. Check your chest. If we are rounding, then we come back so we can have that straight back. Holding it here for 3. For 2. And on 1, we come up. And for the hard side, or for the hard part, both feet. Making space. Both toes are flexed towards you. Really recommend bending the knees at first. Inhale, hands to the sky. Exhale, we come down and forward, grabbing either the outsides of our feet or our shins. And then if we feel like we have a straight back, then we start to straighten out our legs. Check your chest is shining forward, shoulders are back. Holding it here. Feel free to close your eyes. For 3. Flex those toes. For 2. And on 1, gently coming up. Noticing how your back might feel naturally straight now. We're going to take our hands behind us, lifting our legs, making our way down. So option to bring your hands out in front of you. We're going to come down onto our backs, counting down from 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. I was too close. All right. From here, bringing your heels to the distance of your fingertips. So you want to be able to touch your heels with your fingertips. Check that your feet are not wider than your hips. Inhale, we're going to start to lift our hips to the sky. As we do that, we tuck under our shoulder blades. Lifting, pushing the ground away with your feet. Your chin and your chest should almost be touching. Holding it here for 1 more breath. Exhale, release. Knees into your chest. Give yourself a big hug. Massaging that lower back. Bringing your feet back down. Ready for round 2. So again, check your alignment by touching your heels. Inhale, lift those hips to the sky. Tuck under your shoulder blades, interlace your fingers, push the ground away. Option here to lift the right knee or the right leg. When we're doing that, just notice how our hips sink, so push your hips back up. Hold it here for 1 breath. Exhale, release that foot, lift the other leg if you're doing this, otherwise we just stay in normal bridge. Make sure that your hips are still super high. Exhale, release. Push the ground away. Come up on those tiptoes. Exhale, coming down. Grabbing the outsides of your feet. in happy baby, letting yourself rock from side to side. Now, we're either going to come back into bridge, the poses that we just came into, or if we feel up for it, option here is to come into wheel. So wheel's a bit more intense, so really taking it at your own pace. Taking your hands behind your shoulders. Here, just like in bridge, you want to make sure that your knees and your elbows aren't falling out to the side. Okay, so if you're coming up, really be conscious of your elbows and your knees. On your next inhale, push the ground away, either from bridge or from wheel. Check your elbows, check your knees. Imagine you have a block in between your knees. Holding it for one breath. Exhale, release. Bring those knees back into your chest. And to counteract our back bends there, we're going to come into candle. So beginning with kicking our feet up into the sky. So your hands are flat into the ground. And we just practice lifting our hips by kicking our feet up. If we're ready to take it to the next level, we take our hands to our lower back, bending your knees still first, because we want to align our shoulder blades underneath us. When we feel like our elbows are aligned underneath us, then we can lift our legs to the sky. Noticing the pressure on your neck. If this is too much, guys, come into your own variation or bring your knees into your chest. From here, if you want to take it a little bit further, you can take your feet behind you. Only doing this, though, if it feels right. It's quite an intense pose as well. We're holding it here, wherever you're at, for 3. For 2. And on 1, bring your legs back to the sky if you're not there. Bend your knees, slowly walking your hips down to the ground. Hugging your knees into your chest. From here, extend that left leg down to the ground, right knees in our chest. Taking your left hand to this right knee, we're going to carry it up and over your body to the left side. Right hand's extended to the right side. So you're getting your a good last twist here today. So just noticing your right knee and your right shoulder. Can we bring them closer to the ground? We're going to be holding it here for a bit. So trying to find your own sense of comfort. Keeping your eyes closed and coming back to your breath in our second last pose today. Taking 2 more breaths here. And gently bringing this knee back into your chest. And giving it a good squeeze. Releasing it down to the ground. And we're bringing the left leg now. Whenever you're ready, with your right hand, carrying this left knee up and over your body to the right side. Left hand to the left side, looking at those left fingertips. And then we close our eyes. We breathe into any discomfort. We're holding it here for just a bit, so finding your own sense of comfort here. Taking 2 more deep breaths. And then gently bringing this leg back into your chest. And we're gently releasing the leg down to the ground, making our way into Shavasana. So finding a really comfortable spot to be for the next 2-3 minutes. So walking your shoulder blades away from your ears so we have as much space as possible. Letting your hands and your feet just fall open, claiming space on your mat, so taking as much space as you need. With your eyes closed, finding stillness for the next 2-3 minutes. Starting to bring a bit of movement to your toes, to your feet. Moving your legs and your thighs. And wiggling your hips a bit from side to side. Noticing the gap between your lower back and the ground. Breathing into your chest and exhaling through your stomach. Moving your fingertips and your hands. We're taking one hand to our stomach, one hand to our chest. Noticing your breath here. Noticing the rise and falls. Moving up through your shoulders, your neck. Coming up to your face, noticing any tension that we've accumulated. On our exhales, can we release that tension around our eyes, around our jaw, around our mouth? Whenever you're ready, I invite you to come onto your left side, keeping your eyes closed, and then slowly from your left side, making your way up to a seated position. Finding yourself in a comfortable position for some last breath work. Take your hands on your knees. And we're going to end with the same breath work of 4, 7, 8. We're going to do it 4 times. So steadying your breath first. And together, let's inhale for 4. Hold for 7. Exhale for 8. Inhale for 4. Hold for 7. Exhale for 8. Inhale for 4. Hold for 7. Exhale for 8. Last round, guys. Inhale for 4. Hold for 7. Exhale for 8. Come back to your natural breath. Taking your hands to prayer in front of your chest. Coming back to the intention that you set for yourself at the beginning of practice. Coming back to how you felt at the beginning of practice. Carrying this stillness, this breath work throughout your day. Thank you guys for coming to today's practice.